Good morning and welcome to Morning Walk. I'm Don, and today I'd like to discuss what's the purpose of temptation. Well, we're all tempted, aren't we? What's the purpose of it? Well, it probably depends on who you ask. No, I'm not referring to the fact that as Christians, we have varying opinions. Of course we do. Yet temptations, if we're to understand them properly, are derived. Temptation has a source, doesn't it? As does, frankly, everything that we experience in life. So, let's consider the true source of temptation. Well, that would be Satan. So our question, what's the purpose of temptation? Well, Satan's purpose is to obviously solicit us to manifest his character and to be distracted from God's. Thus to cause us to misrepresent who we are as God has designed us, denying God the glory that he deserves and the purpose that we were created. And to, as a result, cause us to think that somehow our self-effort, we can become like God or even become pleasing to God. Think about what you're tempted to do at times. And so we see that Satan's purpose is to solicit us to misrepresent who we are in Christ, and to frankly doubt our identity in Christ and Christ's sufficiency as our life. However, God tempts no one. So what is God's purpose? The fact is that even though Satan's the tempter, God has a purpose in all things and everything, including temptation. So what is God's purpose for temptation in our lives? Well, God's purpose in allowing Satan's solicitations in the first place would be very important for us as Christians, because the fact that we're tempted preserves our God-intended freedom of choice. If we weren't tempted, then we would never be able to really experience freedom of choice to yield to temptation or not. And God's purpose is, secondly, to allow for us to respond by faith. You see, it's in the midst of temptation that we can choose to have a faith-loving relationship with God as God intended for us. And therefore, when we are tempted, it's vital for us to remember, as Paul stated, no temptation has overtaken you, but such as is common to man. I know it feels like it's only you, but it's not. And he goes on to say, and God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able. That's good news. And he concludes that verse by saying, but with the temptation will provide the way of escape also, so that you will be able to endure it. So today, as you're tempted, and you will be, just remember Christ's your sufficiency. Remember, Satan's purpose is to distract you from that. And God's intention is that you walk in obedience of faith.